Hi, it's Joy, and today we're watching Heartstopper Season 3, Episode 6, Body. I am so excited for another episode of this show. A reminder that, as always, you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go.
You've come a long way, Charlie.
You have, sweetheart.
I don't know. Alright, let's try something. I want you to
That, I don't know, is such a relatable response.
If you want any extra support, okay? Whatever you need. Thanks.
Ooh. I'm so proud of him.
Take a 5-minute break, all right, Charlie? Don't push yourself too hard.
Does he feel like people making all these allowances for him makes him feel different?
Yeah.
Or is it nice because people are looking out for him? Because that's all they're doing.
I mean, I had a lot of help.
And
I
that's
still relapsed 2 weeks after. I know it happens. It's normal.
Yeah.
I talked about it.
But you continue to criticize yourself.
Recovery is this, but you just keep it keeps going up. That's the hope.
That made me feel insane. Just fuck off.
You're both kids who don't know how to deal with this, okay? You did nothing wrong. I mean, you didn't do anything particularly right in that moment, but none of it is your fault.
Sorry. Sorry.
Exactly. Neither of you handled that very well.
Self-harm relapses
You're
are
both
normal,
beautiful
and
babies
they don't negate any
doing their
progress.
best.
You ask.
I guess we feel a lot closer. I mean, he's seen me at my absolute rock bottom and hasn't run away screaming.
Yeah,
Now
that's
I feel like I'm
very
in
true.
relationship therapy or something.
But I expect your progress has allowed you to deepen your connection with him.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in truth got more energy to give to your relationship.
Yeah. And you're not holding so much for yourself back anymore.
More energy. Yeah.
Teenagers.
I still don't want to be defined by the fact that I was bullied at 14 and then had one toxic ex-boyfriend.
But trauma doesn't define you.
Mm-hmm.
But it also doesn't vanish in 5 minutes. So, and you've got people around you who love and care for you.
Exactly,
Enjoy them.
sweetheart.
Oh, and enjoy your birthday and party hard. 16's one of the big ones.
Oh, sweetheart.
Think about whether it's something you feel comfortable with. I'll email you the details.
Thank you.
No pressure, but also good for you.
That's so exciting.
Happy birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday. Have you considered the idea that you and Nick are ready to take things further?
He's talking about having sex.
Yeah, I know.
I like that they're not
I know it's
acting like kind of, oh, all teenage boys just want to do it immediately.
It's about Charlie's sex life and not mine.
You know what? I don't want to talk about this anymore. Get out. Let's change. Get out.
Charlie, sweetheart, my advice to you is talk to Nick. Let him know how you, like, maybe not necessarily in the middle of one of your makeout sessions, but one point when it's just the two of you and you're chatting, just say, like, I just literally just read my brain. I try not to read the write-ups, but as I was talking, my brain read Charlie tells Nick to T20. Yeah, just talk to him. Just tell him, you know, I've been thinking and I'd like to try going to the next level if you want to try that. I mean, like, I would like to try going a bit further if you feel comfortable. And if you don't, that's totally fine. Oh my God, it's totally fine. Just, you know, when you're ready, I wouldn't mind giving it a go. You know, something like that, because like, unless you talk about it, Nick could be feeling the exact same thing as you and not wanting to push you. So just talk about it with him. I'm so proud of him. Like, his huge group of friends and
Hello.
random boy from random party.
Okay, well, bye everyone. Have a fun time.
Okay, I'm glad she's found someone with similar energy. Well, I mean, different but similar energy.
I think I should do it. It's a really cool opportunity.
If you want to and you feel comfortable, then I completely agree.
It's gonna be.
I don't think I could ever hate you. You helped
Figure
me
things
realize
out.
something pretty big about myself.
Yeah, whatever pace you need, you figure out all your life things and you can be there for the people you love.
I like us better as friends.
Right, we're gonna get crazy drunk now. Yeah, let's go. But let's start.
I'm happy
Right
for
here.
them. I'm happy for her that she's found someone, whether they're dating or not. And I'm happy, like, she gets to see her brother with their very supportive group of friends. How much have you drunk,
Have you guys
sweetheart?
started thinking about uni options?
Oh god, this was the worst conversation in the world.
Guys, can we not talk about uni stuff right now?
You don't think you could do long distance?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
You're going to Oxford, aren't you?
Yeah, you're doing all that Oxbridge stuff. It's so smart.
I fully understand. I mean, I did not have the level of pressure she has on her, but I know I talk about myself a lot, but I don't know, like, humanizing reactions, kind of how I relate to shows. I felt the exact same way. I hated hearing talk about uni. I was terrified about the prospect. I didn't get excited when I got acceptances. I didn't get depressed if I got a rejection. I was just literally just like, I don't want to think about it. Like, I remember the summer before I went to uni, they sent out, like, once we'd got in, they were like, this is the people you're living with, and like you can go on this Facebook page and you can find, like, there'll be like a chat for each flat, and you can like find your people. And I went and I found the flat that had my housemates in it, or my flatmates or whatever, and I looked and like 4 or 5 of them had commented, and I remember looking at their profiles and being like, oh my god, they're real people, I can't do this. And I did not respond. And then on the first day when I turned up, they were like, there was an 8th person. Yeah, I really relate to Tara in this. Like, oh, the third. And I can remember that feeling so vividly. And then I went to uni, and the first year, the beginning was incredibly stressful and traumatic, and I went home every single weekend. And then when it came to the end of the year, I cried my eyes out because I had to leave that flat and I had to leave uni. And yeah, I loved uni. It was amazing. So, like, it's worth it if any kids are watching this reaction. I had the best time at uni, but I remember so vividly that feeling of terror and kind of knowing that, like, things are going to be different and they're never going to be like they are right now ever again. And, like, yeah, not for me.
Hey.
Oh, you having a panic attack, sweetheart? I didn't have it this bad, poor love.
Okay, I think. Let's do some deep breaths together. Breathe in for 3.
This is just such a lovely, supportive group of friends, and it makes me really emotional. Everyone deserves this, and I'm so happy for these kids.
I'm fine. I'll be fine.
You can talk about it with them, my darling. Well done, Charlie. You're a very good friend.
That was amazing. I'm so drunk right now.
Let's get you some water, okay?
I mean, one thing I do want to say is Nick's thing of, like, I want to choose a uni that's close to home so I can be with Charlie. Like, I have such, like, mixed feelings about that sentiment because I adore it and I think it's beautiful and it's so kind and sweet. And when you have a relationship that you love, why shouldn't you choose to stay? But I also think, as a kid, look around, look at whatever university you want. And if you find a university further away that has a course that just speaks to you or something, long distance will be okay. But then at the same time, maybe Charlie does need him to stick around and stay closer. And there will be a lot of, I'm not entirely sure where they're based, but there will be universities close enough to home that he can go to and have a really good time. I mean, I went to a university that's an hour away by train from where I live, and like I talked about, I was very stressed, it was very awful, but I was easily able to come back and forth from home whenever I needed, and that was for my own sake, not for like somebody else's, like it would be in Nick's case. But I picked a university. I was so lucky because I found a university that was in a city that I liked the look of, that had like a lot of history in it, which, because I've studied history, that had a history course that I really loved, and it was only an hour away. It was like an absolute dream when I found it. University of Kent, I love you. I was about to be like that, but I'm not wearing my uni hoodie, so I think Nick can find a university close to home, is what I'm trying to say, that will still give him everything he wants. But there is always something when you have like a teenager in particular making big life decisions based on somebody else that I'm like, don't do it for yourself. But at the same time, if staying near Charlie will make him happier, and if he goes away to a university that maybe has a slightly better course for him, that's, I don't necessarily mean better as in like a better uni, better as in like suited to him, but he's miserable because he's worrying about Charlie all the time and he doesn't get to see him as much. Like, there are kind of ups and downs to both. So I hope Nick looks at other universities, even if he then chooses close to home. And Tara does not have to go to Oxford if she doesn't want to.
I've been thinking about something.
What's that?
You're very drunk right now, my darling.
Even me. We could do things.
What kind of thing?
We could have sex.
Yeah, so do I.
Mm-hmm.
The I
No
know I wasn't
pressure.
ready in Paris, but
No pressure on either you, but when you're both
it
ready,
was a
and
long time ago.
if that's now, though I kind of... How drunk is Charlie? Not in any way thinking like he's not currently consenting. That is not what I'm saying. And also not thinking that like none of that like normally when someone's drunk. But more, I just want Charlie to be able to like remember it, be present in the moment. But at the same time, maybe with his anxiety and stuff, it will help him if the first time is a little bit eased. I don't know.
You're incredibly drunk.
Yes, thank you.
When I'm sober, I'm scared that...
Yeah. He loves you, sweetheart. Good and bad. Yep.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Oh,
Yep,
shit.
to the sink. There's a sink. Okay, no, yep. Toilet is best, yes. But I was like, if it's immediate, the sink is next to you. Okay, they had the conversation, and he revealed some of his insecurities, and yep.
Oh my god, I'm so embarrassing.
No, you're not.
Morning, campers.
Mum and Dad will be back. I can have friends over too.
Friends.
Little brothers.
Artist, Elle Argent, for her big first interview.
Oh, I really want this to go well.
Come on.
I hope this goes well for her. She deserves nothing but shine.
Wait out here. That's all right.
I'm anxious for her. Like, not that like she won't do well, but just it's such an anxiety-inducing situation.
Ready to meet the love of your life?
You're so jealous right now. I'm allowed to...
Okay.
It's a pre-recorded interview, that is good. Or is it? No, it is live.
More and more likes, and now I have over 50,000 followers.
Good for you.
Is the attention very proud to be trans? It's a big part of who I am, so I like to explore and express that in the art that I create.
And that's so important right now, isn't it?
I was worried about this. That this was like, did anyone prep her that this like is not just an interview about her and her art? I was worried they were going to bring in like the wider world and like trans issues and stuff, because yes, she's proud of being trans, and yes, that is a huge part of who she is forever. But she's not, doesn't have to be the spokesperson for everyone. I mean, she'll do great. I really hope she'll do great. But I was...
Some call it a culture war, feminists versus
Yeah,
trans
this is not what
activists,
she
and so on. Last
needs.
week we had a feminist speaker on the show who talked to us about the importance of same-sex spaces. I think it's so important we hear all voices and opinions. So I'd love
She's
to
a
hear your
15,
thoughts
oh,
on
she's a
this.
16, 17-year-old girl.
Trans people aren't a debate.
But she will be
they're
brilliant.
human beings.
Of gender-neutral bathrooms will increase cases of sexual assault against women. I'm very interested to get your
She
thoughts
doesn't
about
deserve this. She's a child, for one
Your
thing.
speaker last week was transphobic, then. Okay.
I'm proud of you
Rumours
for how you handled that.
Should we stop it?
which states that teachers must inform parents about students changing.
Elle,
their
just
pronouns.
leave, my
Now,
darling.
as someone who transitioned
Like,
very young,
if Elle feels confident and safe in responding to this ridiculous line of questioning, because it's antagonistic, the woman's voice is like, well, if you think so. She's not doing it in like a, you know, this is, I know this is a really hard topic to discuss. She's doing it in like a, okay, because no one should be ambushed like this on any topic that is so important and vital, but especially not a child you're interviewing, for fuck's sake. Like, she's here to talk about her art and her art success. Obviously, the teacher who recommended this didn't do a very good job of researching the program to see who was on the previous week.
I'm sorry if I offended you. This is not what we agreed. It is inappropriate and it is manipulative and...
We love you, Elle, and you handled that awful situation so well, and I'm so sorry. I was worried it was going to be like this, that they were going to view her as part of the huge shitstorm that our world is in, and it's not on individuals to have to deal with that. It makes me fucking angry.
I probably want to do classics at uni, so you're a big inspiration to me.
Good choice, Charlie. It was my second choice.
Classic. Don't ignore your Latin vocab.
Thanks. Sorry. Hello.
They share a crush.
It's really hot. Oh my god.
They share a crush. And don't we all? Do you have necessary things to be safe, boys. That's all I would like to check. But also, you do you, and I'm proud. I mean, be safe, but I'm proud of you. It's okay if you're not ready. Because you can be ready and not ready.
Do you want to? No.
I mean, like, if you're able to push those bad thoughts away and keep going. But it's also okay, Charlie, if you need to do it slowly, and it's okay. Because you should enjoy yourself and not be suffering while it's happening, my darling. Nick would hate it if he thought you were feeling bad.
I'm nervous about taking my shirt off.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
good
look
to be
like
honest.
Jack Maddox or anything.
He doesn't love Jack Maddox.
But as long as you and Nick respect and trust each other, and you communicate and listen to each other, then you're safe. And as long as you practice safe sex, you can get some free condoms from the reception. Charlie, I think you have a lot of confidence.
Me too.
Aren't you the one who confessed your feelings to Nick first, when you didn't even know whether he liked you back?
Mm-hmm.
But feel confident.
That's just a challenge you're going to have to face.
I'm so proud of this little boy. I love
every
him.
aspect of your life. But I know you have it in you, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Happy birthday, Charlie. This was such a good episode. I just adore the way this show handles mental health, in particular teenage mental health, obviously, because that's what it's based on. But that they immediately addressed that Charlie had a relapse, because recovery is very rarely you're lucky enough to go whoop. It's going to be bumps in the road. But as long as you don't let those relapses completely discourage you, as long as you keep doing the work, as long as you keep trusting in the process, you will get better. And even when you might be at the top, you can have another relapse, but it's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing shameful. And I think they're doing such a brilliant job of showing Charlie going through that process, and also Charlie mentally now understanding that process. Because at the beginning, the idea of like he'd go to this place, he'd get better, he'd be doing a lot better, and then he'd relapse quite quickly afterwards, you'd think, well, what's the fucking point? And then there's no point. I'm useless and it's not going to be right and I'm not going to be able to do it. But he's now at this place where he's like, it was really rubbish because I relapsed. But you know, I know that's normal. I know it's okay. And I think even if right now his brain, it's still kind of, his initial thought is, oh, I'm useless because I relapsed. His brain then immediately combats that with, no, it's not, it's okay. And that is such an important part of healing and growing. Like sometimes you can't quiet the anxious voice in your brain, but if you can remember the things that people you trust have told you and you can like fight back against it, one day you will be able to defeat that voice. And it might come sneak back on you at some point when you're not paying attention, but you can defeat it. And I think they're just doing such a brilliant job of showcasing Charlie's journey through this. And I really, really hope if there is anybody who has watched this show, I presume it was similar in the graphic novels, like who has consumed this media, who is feeling like Charlie was before he began to ask for help, that they will feel more confident in trying and in going through the process, because you deserve that. You deserve to look after yourself, and you deserve people to help you figure out how to do that. And I love the line the therapist had towards the end there about how actually Charlie has a whole lot of confidence, because my lord does that, boy. He told Nick he fancied him. He told Nick he loved him first. I know he was drunk, but he was the one that was like, hey, Nick, let's have sex. Like, he is always the one that, despite the anxiety churning in his brain, despite everything happening in his head, he still knows what he wants and risks it. And it's brilliant. And I'm so proud of him. I think potentially with the decision of whether or not they wanted to have sex at this moment in time, Nick probably would not have been the one to bring that up, because he wouldn't want to feel like he was pressuring Charlie before Charlie was ready, because Charlie was in a more vulnerable headspace at the moment in particular. But in general, Charlie has been the one to take the jump, to take the plunge, and that is freaking scary to do. And I am so very proud of him, and I'm proud of him for everything he's done. I'm very glad that his counselor was like, get free condoms from the desk, because I can't lie, when I thought that potentially, like, I didn't, like, the camera was going to pan away from them on Charlie's bed and we were going to leave them to it, I was mildly concerned that neither of them appeared to be particularly prepared, because this was not well thought out. But I'm very proud of Charlie and his progress, and It's seeing him surrounded by this warm, loving group of friends who understand each other and love each other, and seeing him getting to be the one helping a friend through a rough patch. It's just so beautiful and makes me so emotional, because when we met Charlie, he had a friendship group. You know, he had 3 people, ride or die, like great friends. But even though that original core friendship group is so much stronger now than it was before, and yet it's such an expanded group with just so much love and acceptance, and it really is aspirational in so many ways for how every kid, especially every queer kid, but every kid deserves to be able to grow up surrounded by that much love. Tara, I talked a lot about during the reaction. I relate to, like, again, Tara is smarter than I was, but Tara I relate to fully with the pressure she's under, with kind of the, like, everything's going to change, you're going to uni, and, like, you're definitely applying to Oxbridge, right? Because, for one thing, I mean, like I said in a previous reaction, I vaguely considered applying to Oxbridge, but it was also, like, because, you know, my grades probably were technically good enough, but I also knew that, like, I wasn't going to get in. But it also, as much as, like, you kind of can see the appeal, I can still see the appeal of it, don't get me wrong. I'm also like, it's totally okay to not go to the top university in the country. It's totally okay to just go to an average university if you want to. Like, just the most important thing with university, really, when it comes down to it, is that you find one where you like the look of it, whether it's the campus, whether it's a city university, so spread out, like, around a city, that you like the sound of the course you're planning on taking. I mean, you can change that in the first year or whatever, but, like, if you, like, that you don't think, oh, I really want to go to Oxford, but, oh, fuck, I really hate the sound of their history course, all those modules they're offering, oh, I don't like them, then don't go to Oxford. It doesn't matter if it's the best university. Find one where you feel like it is a comfortable and warm space. As scary as that can be. And I do also think a big part of what Tara's going through, and this might be me projecting my 16, 17-year-old, she's about 17 now, like 17-year-old self, because I was terrified, is that feeling of you're never going to have these moments in the garden again when you're at uni. Now, like, you can of course still get your friendship group back in holidays and whatever, but life is scary because you go through so much of childhood. And when you're someone like me, and I presume like Tara, who likes school, who at least, like, doesn't hate school, who enjoys having their friends and being able to see them all the time, suddenly going from you get to see your friends every single day, most weeks, and then meet up at the weekends, and then suddenly you're all going across the country. And then even when that finishes, even if you all move back home, you've all got different jobs and lives, and things do change. And I do sometimes miss the simplicity of those days at school. And maybe that makes me a dork, but I don't care. And I think Tara is definitely dealing with a lot of that and the pressure she's under, and maybe she doesn't want to go to Oxford. Maybe she really, really does, but she's got that feeling of, well, I'm not going to get in, and then everyone's going to be disappointed in me when I don't get in, because it's really hard to get in, because so many people who are perfectly well qualified apply, and they won't get in. And I think Tara's got a brilliant chance of getting in if she wants to, but she shouldn't be pressured either. So I loved seeing Charlie being able to talk her through that panic attack, as awful as it was to see her having a panic attack. And I just hope at some point she talks to someone, Darcy, her parents, just someone to just let out all of the stuff that she's keeping inside, because it's just making herself more and more unhappy. Now, I was very happy to see Tori has a friend / boyfriend. She's been worrying me because she seemed very lonely and isolated. And there is nothing wrong with being super close with your family, but it is sort of a lot of what she seemed quite depressed at times, and I'm glad to see that she had that moment with someone where she was like, I see you, I think we would get on, and they actually did it, like, because that's a scary thing to do as well. So I'm very proud of the Springs, proud of Nick, proud of everybody. And then lastly, Elle. Now, when they initially were saying, like, they want to do this the radio interview with you, I was like, well, for one thing, if she's comfortable to do it, you go fucking ahead, girl. The other part of me was like, going on, like, live radio is terrifying, especially if you're, like, a child, a teenager who, like, hasn't done that before. And so I'm so incredibly proud of her for being brave enough to take that risk. But I was also acutely aware that the kid they were asking was a trans girl, and that there was a very good chance, with the fucking state of this country right now, and the world, to be honest, that that would be brought up. And Elle should not feel like that. For one thing, if you want to invite somebody on to have a debate about the trans issue, which isn't an issue, it's just transphobic morons versus people who just would like to exist. Again, I, as a very, very cis person, I'm not the person to speak on this eloquently or well, or I shouldn't, like, I'm not the person to listen to, but it just makes me fucking upset. And I know I just, the state this country is in right now is just so upsetting. And the idea of ambushing a child on air about it is just fucking disgusting. I hope people wrote in complaining beyond just her mother, because I would have if I was listening to that. Because you start off by saying, oh, she's a young artist and she's gone viral on social media. Brilliant, that's what you're talking to her about her art process, about her journey. Now, yes, if, as is the case, a lot of her art is exploring her transgender identity and proudly displaying it, you can mention that because it is relevant to her art. That is as far as you go, unless Elle says, and while I'm here, I'd like to speak on the nonsense that the people, but bringing it up like that and so antagonistically, if you're going to bring anybody on there and you want to discuss something controversial, you don't invite them on the show saying, I want to talk about cakes, and then be like, we're actually talking about this other thing. It was so disgusting, and I'm very glad her parents were furious, but I'm also just so sad for Elle because she took such a huge risk, a brave step, being on that radio show in the first place, and then they turned around. And also, with the state our country is in, I hope in a way the show just doesn't do this, but realistically, they've announced that she's on social media. They probably announced what her social media is. She will get so many transphobic hate comments now because she's been in the public eye as someone who is calling anti-trans people transphobic, which they are, but like, she will probably get on that brilliant, wonderful social media account hate comments and abuse, which I imagine she would have got a little bit of anyway because the internet is wonderful. I mean, I'm not very famous. Like, I have a very small YouTube channel and I'm happy with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be like, in my experience, because no, I have a very small channel that just makes me happy. But I still remember when I think it was, I tried reacting to Cobra Kai a few years ago and it just really wasn't for me. And I didn't like some of the messages in it and like how they were displaying things, and it just wasn't for me. People love it, brilliant, that's for them. And so like, I think I made a video where I was like, I'm really sorry, like I've watched a few episodes of this and it's just not for me. And I still to this day have a screenshot of a message I got that she must be a pronouns girl. And it just made me laugh my head off because like, yes, she mustn't she? But like, if I, as like a cis person, is getting stuff like that when it wasn't even a video to do with anything to do with being trans, I can't even imagine what the inbox is of people who are outwardly, proudly being themselves are getting hateful. I'm not explaining this very well. But basically, my heart breaks for Elle, and I want to give her a hug, and I want to fight every single person that is transphobic in the world. Because I can't even imagine that level of small-minded ignorance. And I would say normally something like, and if you're watching this reaction and you're transphobic, get the fuck off my channel, which I do mean, but I'm also like, I don't think anyone who's transphobic would A, watch Heartstopper, and B, be watching reactions of Heartstopper. So I think we're a safe space here. But if somehow you're here for hate watching reasons, fuck off. So I just want to give her the biggest hug, and I didn't find any of that well, but I think she handled that awful situation so brilliantly, and it breaks my heart that she even had to in the first place. And then also Jonathan, I knew Jonathan Bailey was like in it. I didn't think he was in it as a big part, so I really loved his moment, and that, even Nick was like, oh, he's so, I mean, he is beautiful. Like, yes, Jonathan Bailey would never want to marry me, and that's totally fine, because Anthony Bridgerton is straight, and I can like that character. I mean, I'm joking, but like, he is gorgeous, and I think it was very important for Charlie to be able to meet one of his heroes and for it to feel like such a safe space. And yeah, I'm rambling. I'm not articulating anything well, but I love this episode. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance. Thank you so much for watching.